What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. You don't like it, you can have that seatbelt. So the Nintendo NX, despite people not knowing really anything about what the system is, it's getting an insane amount of hype, an insane amount of coverage, despite the lack of things really to talk about. And my question for actually the Nintendo haters and bashers out there, before the NX even comes out, does the NX count? Now you're probably wondering, scratching your head, what do you mean does it count? I mean, if the NX comes out and it's hugely successful, does it count? Now, when the Wii came out and it tore up the competition, for some reason, it didn't count. The Wii didn't count to these haters because it wasn't a PlayStation or an Xbox. Nintendo's not in competition with those, so it doesn't count. That doesn't count. That's a casual system. But the funny part is when Nintendo's not selling well, then it counts. Have you noticed that? You got people that will sit there with a straight face and say that the PlayStation 3 or the 360 was the leader last generation. Yet they didn't sell nearly as much as the Wii because the Wii, quote unquote, didn't count. But it's funny that now that its successor, the Wii U, didn't sell that well, now it counts. So my question is, before this system even comes out, do the sales versus the PlayStation 4 or versus any of the competition count? I want your answer now before the flip-flopping starts. Alright, so apparently it's perfectly okay for Sony fans to get hype for a Sony product. It's okay for Xbox fans to get hyped. But when Nintendo fans get hyped, here we come with the Debbie Downers, bro.
Oh, you can't hype up this Nintendo system because the last system didn't do good. You can't hype this up. You can't hype that up.
Like, the GameCube was the worst selling system in Nintendo's history before the Wii came out, and then the Wii exploded and took off, okay? One of the main issues with the Wii U was lack of hype. It didn't have enough freaking hype. Nintendo wasn't hyping it up enough. These niggas weren't even showing commercials. The fans weren't hyping it up enough. We had all these great games that nobody was really hyping. Hardly no one knew about it because nobody was talking about it like that. There is nothing wrong with hyping this system up. If you like what you saw based on what they shown with the Nintendo Switch, hype it up. Hype it up. Now people, oh, well, you need to be cautious. Shut up. Okay? We gotta hype up what we want to hype up. Now, that doesn't mean hype it up to the point where you start making up lies like Xbox guys do. That ain't what I'm saying. But if you're excited for the system and you're excited for the future, hype it up. Let it be known. That is one of the main problems we had with the Wii U was lack of hype. So don't listen to anyone trying to tell you not to hype it. You know what's hilarious to me is that when the NX comes out, and if the NX is hugely successful, you know who's going to try to take credit for it? You know who's going to try to take credit for the success? The haters. The guys that's been hating on Nintendo for the last few years, the guys that bashed the Wii U, the guys that lied and said the Wii U had no good games. These are going to be the idiots that try to take credit for the NX being a huge success, because they are the real Nintendo fans. Because a real Nintendo fan wouldn't buy the Wii U, which is pretty funny because in the beginning of this generation, at least the first couple years, weren't a lot of the highest rated games that came out exclusive to the Wii U, weren't these same people damage controlling said games being really good? That is until the PlayStation 4 came out and finally hit its stride and started coming out with some good games. Now they act like those games were never good, which is funny to me. The Wii U never had games. It never had games. It's funny because you was damage controlling it for the last 2 years. Pretty funny. But these are the same people that if the NX is successful, will try to take credit for its success. The NX is successful because we bashed it and we made Nintendo get good. No. You see, there's a difference between constructive criticism and straight bashing. Now, there's no problem with calling out Nintendo for making some mistakes, and they made plenty of them with the Wii U. But when you come out and say that Nintendo didn't do anything good with the Wii U had no games, it was a complete failure, you're an idiot, and you're not a Nintendo fan. I mean, I find it funny that a lot of these people, they say, oh, I was a Nintendo fan back when they had such and such game and such games, and I remember playing such and such games when I was little. But if you listen to most of these people, 90% of the games that they're naming are freaking third-party games. So were you a fan of Nintendo, or were you a fan at the top-selling console with all the third-party support? Because if you were really a huge fan of Nintendo, you might be disappointed with the Wii U, but you would still buy one because you want to play those Nintendo games, which are still great. But even though I made this video, look back in a couple years from now. If the NX is hugely successful, look at all these flip-floppers and look at all these haters today that try to take credit for the NX being a success. Have that seat. So they say the Nintendo Switch is irrelevant and there's no hype and nobody wants one. Well, somebody should have told all these niggas. Goodness gracious. Look at that line. Ew. That line though. God. That is a long freaking line for something that supposedly nobody wants. It's a lot of grown people too. I don't see any little kids, anything like that, bro. That is a lot of freaking people. And the rest was history.